high-intensity fitness for boxing and combat sports.
The 30-15 test is something that we don't do that often now, but it's something that we encourage people to do on our Train Like Champion programs and everything. The 30-15 test, tell me about how that came about, because obviously we had the yo-yo test that we had with the groups. When you was working with the high-end professionals, you developed the treadmill version of the 30-15 test. Tell me how that came about.
So what do boxers do traditionally for conditioning? And it's typically long, slow runs on the road. And then contrast that with the demands of the sport, which is high intensity, intermittent activity. There's some disparity between traditional conditioning methods and the nature and the demands of the sport. Look at how intensity progresses through the standards and levels of the sport. It clearly gets more intense as you go through, but those activity rest ratios are relatively similar. Yeah, the higher performers, they're performing better on these intermittent type tests. One test that was emerging to be quite a reliable test for one thing, which is what we really strive for in sports science, but also one that had good discriminant validity in order that it could identify standards of performance, was a 30-15 test. So that's 30 seconds of running at a predetermined speed with 15 seconds recovery. Next stage gets faster. So it's a bit like the bleep test, a bit like the yo-yo test, but it's performed on a court or on a field. So it still has that change of direction. I modified the test, took the speeds, programmed a treadmill for that test. When you got the boxes on it, it was like, right, your world level standard, you get on there. Your European standard, you get in there. Your, young amateur, let's test you. We started then building up a database, didn't we, of test results, and like young amateurs were maybe getting like 20 kilometers per hour. And then like ones that were, pro or early pro, 22 kilometers per hour. We're like, hang on, we're getting on to something here. European level, international level were 23s, and then the tops were like 24s. So it was able then to discriminate between different standards of performance. And it was also good because we could take the speeds that the boxers were running at and then program based upon their 30-15 speed. We could be more precise in their 30-30s, for example, and work off that and work off the work that Martin Bukai had done based upon the 30-15 and how we'd program work rest intervals. And that's how the 30-15 test came about. Easy test to do. It does give us a better indication of an athlete's ability to perform at a high intensity with very short recoveries, which we know is really important from a performance perspective.
The reason why we don't do it as much now is because we find out a lot more about that, the physiology and how they're responding to them high intensities. So we wanted to look at the lactate, heart rate, power endurance is the main thing as well. And also we haven't got a treadmill that's big enough to do the 30-15 for like a lot of like amateur professional boxers as well that might not have the access to these labs and everything like that. It's a really simple test to do. So it starts off at 8 kilometers an hour, do 30 seconds, step off the treadmill, 15 seconds, then you increase it by 0.5 kilometers an hour. And then you repeat that all the way up to until you can't do no more. Really important there as well is taking your heart rate after every stage, because then you get a trend of like kind of how you are responding, because you're talking about the amateurs and the professionals and the elite. The difference between 20 and 22 and 22 and 24 doesn't seem that much, because that is their absolute max effort. To get that a little bit more and look at like kind of the PBs that have just been in the Olympics or the world records at Olympics, it's like in tens, hundreds, even thousandth of a second improvements. So that maximum effort can only just shift that little bit. What we want to see is like kind of how they're responding at each level. Seeing the heart rate come down by 10 beats per minute shows that they're becoming more efficient at them intensities.
When you've got an athlete that has, let's say, has got to 23.5 kilometers per hour and they're absolutely pushing it to their maximum and they're going, no, I don't want to do any more. If you can say, I want you to do just one more step on that next level, the ones that get on and do an extra step or a few steps and just try to do something at that next level and push themselves to that next level is also indicative of their performance standard as well. So all of the top boxers that we've had in that are challenging for world titles will always go on and try and do that little bit more. They'll never give in until their body gives in. We've had other boxers in that have gone, right, step on, let's go for another bit, and they've just gone, no. And they've not been able to push on to that.
If you're a keen follower of Boxing Science, you will know that we're very data driven, whether that's our sports science research, our strength and conditioning practices, or nutritional strategies. We also take this approach into our content creation. That's why we've been developing content that's been engaging, that's helped grow the Boxing Science YouTube channel. And with this analysis in our YouTube engagement, we've actually found out an interesting figure, that only 27% of people that watch our videos actually are subscribed to the Boxing Science YouTube channel. That means that a massive 73% of people that watch these videos aren't currently subscribed. We're actually aiming for the Boxing YouTube channel to hit 100,000 subscribers. We want a nice silver plaque in this bookshelf here, and it will mean the world to us, and will also support the growth of the channel to bring you even bigger and better content. So if you're one of them 73%, if I can ask a quick favor, if you can hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content, and also we'll guarantee better content in the future.